Hello, and welcome to my workshop, Coping with the Death of a Pet, a workshop for the professional to help an elder cope with issues surrounding pets, the loss of a pet or pets, and inclusion of a pet in an estate or trust. Our goals today for the workshop are to learn what a pet means to an elder, what the loss may mean, and to demonstrate the ability to plan a creative memorial for the deceased pet. We keep in mind the elder's abilities too. Are they ambulatory? Are they able to access the internet comfortably? Or do they have to have help with these things? Also, we will plan on paper preferably for if the pet outlives their person and taking in details of pet trusts and putting the pet in the estate. Why do we want to learn these things? Firstly, understanding that pets are family to many people and are integral parts of the complex family system, and what a pet loss means to the elder can facilitate grief and the counseling process. The ability to help an elder with closure and forward-thinking points to their progress in processing and healing, creative memorials, and the planning involved may bring needed comfort. Helping an elder plan for if their pet outlives them optimally will take some of the anxiety out of their life, and active healing will ensure less risk of prolonged depression or anxiety in the elder, reducing other health risks. Um, so here I'd like everybody to have writing materials ready and begin a list of questions, comments, or concerns that we'll address at the end of the workshop. Also, feelings. If they're coming up, we'll address these in group at the end of the workshop, later in the workshop. For now, get ready to write down any feelings that are coming up, questions, comments, concerns, and we'll have group later in the workshop. What do pets mean to elders? These meanings can be a little different or more complex than the meanings of pet loss for a younger person or child. In the elders have different needs, such as possible health issues, missing a deceased spouse, geographically distant grown children, meaning a heightened sense of isolation, loneliness, and or boredom. Elders may not have their former abilities to socialize, and pets frequently provide a segue to socializing, such as dog walking, where they'll most likely encounter others walking their dogs and be able to get into little conversations and chit-chat. And pets provide distraction from distressing events and elevate the elder's mood. Um, according to Cherniak and Cherniak, interaction with pets is often more effective than medication, which is always great. Small sentient beings improve the quality of life for the elder, providing purpose, structure, joy, and they also help elders to feel needed after grown children are out of the nest, say, or if a significant other has passed. A pet can provide an elder with much needed interaction and affection and company. Loss of a pet. The loss of a pet can be profound and the grief intense and shocking for the elder. Elders may experience an array of symptoms ranging from loss of appetite and loss of sleep to bouts of crying and fatigue. They may feel intense guilt, confusion, and sadness. If an elder has been having a hard time caring for a sick pet, they may feel a complicated kind of relief, which may segue into guilt again. So we want to get the elder healing and processing. My last piece of you. The lost pet may be an elder's last connection to a deceased partner, joyous memories and good times with that person, compounding their sense of loss, abandonment, and isolation. Experiencing the loss. When an elder, and anyone really, experiences the loss of a beloved pet, the intensity and duration of the grief experience is usually dependent upon the length of time they had the pet, how the pet passed, whether their passing was natural, planned euthanasia, or a sudden accident, whether it was expected or unexpected, and how much time has elapsed since the pet passed. Awareness of loss. In being aware of the loss and helping an elder process their grief, we must recognize if the pet they lost is key or their only companion, or was their only companion. Listening and making space for the elder to talk and remember is important, and we can be aware of the 5 stages of grief, which are denial, shock, anger, resentment, bargaining, depression, sadness, and finally a level of acceptance where there's less of the previous symptoms, or they're not as intense. An elder can be encouraged to join group therapy if and when they feel if they're able, and encourage creative outlets. So here I have planning a pet memorial. Elders can be encouraged to plan and create a pet memorial if they're able and open to the idea. These creative memorials can be anything from creating a small memory jar to decorating and hanging the shoes of a deceased horse, remembering that these creations will not stop the grief but will bring about a measure of real comfort, and keeping in mind the elder's abilities at all times. We want to get real creative with this. The actual creation and the memories that the creating brings back can be really enjoyable. It's very healing, it's very hands-on, and planning the trip to, say, Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something to purchase the items to create with. It's all a good healing process. And yeah, we want to get real creative with the pet memorials. And planning for if the pet outlives their person, a pet trust, working up an all-inclusive detailed list of the pet's care needs, personality, and temperament, and planning a suitable caregiver. This is someone that the elder feels as confident as possible, absolutely as confident as possible, will be the one who will adequately fulfill their desires for their pet in their absence. A backup caregiver needs to be planned. And the heart-to-heart discussions with these people should also be planned. Getting all of this out on paper is optimal. I find there's a kind of magic in putting pen to paper. It's very constructive. It gets a person out of themselves and out of a kind of obsessive loop. And it's very healing in itself. Pets in the estate. Working on a pet trust with an elder who desires this avenue for their pet's care. We take into consideration a trustee for if there's money, a backup trustee, the caregiver if that's a separate person, and a backup caregiver. Keeping in mind that in states which do not provide pet trust guidelines, the process becomes more complicated. But the local ASPCA or the national ASPCA will have a list of state by state whether they do or do not provide pet trust guidelines. So for those helping an elder to work up a pet trust, calling the ASPCA is a great idea. From a systems perspective, a pet may be an elder's only family, and pet bereavement may be socially isolating for families because the loss may not be recognized by friends and other people. This is called disenfranchised grief, or grief that receives little to no social validation. It can be very isolating and very hurtful. Understanding the attachment that an elder or family has to a pet is key in understanding their bereavement responses. Family systems, families and an elder whose only family was the pet, their grieving or planning care for are diversified, complex, and unique. Petrich writes that families are diversified, complex, and often unique in their composition and manner of grieving. Bereavement may become even more complicated and confusing when the family member who has passed away is a pet. Pet ownership is complex and cannot be represented by one family profile or one pet type. Very, very unique. Multiculturally, we see archaeological evidence showing human and animal relations from thousands of years ago, ancient Egypt to prehistoric New Mexico, with purposeful interment of dogs, bears, golden eagles, hawks, doves, and scarlet macaws. The Siberian Yakut pamper their horses and do not insult them, considering them as intelligent as humans. I think we can all agree that Western culture loves their pets, with pets of a wide variety of species being kept unconditionally, whether they're useful or not. They're loved unconditionally and cared for very well, generally speaking. We do see Muslim and Hasidic Jews regarding dogs as unclean, and they will not keep them in the home or as pets. And a little more about cultures. A broad cultural, geographic, and linguistic study by Gray and Gray in 2011 revealed that dogs, birds, and cats were the most common pets, followed by horses and other hoofed mammals, such as water buffalo, also rodents, primates, and pigs. Here I have an interactive activity. We're going to practice compassionate dialogue. In pairs or groups, I'd love for everybody to pair up or group up in groups of 3 or 4. I like groups to role play and discuss using dialogue that they'd use with an elder regarding the type of pet memorial they're going to create and the steps they're going to take to create it, and the dialogue they'd use while creating a list of caregivers and or trustees with an elder whom the elder is open to, and we keep in mind an elder's abilities at all times. Also, at this time, we could get out our lists and any comments, questions, concerns could be addressed, or feelings that came up if individuals would like to share with their little group or the whole group, that would be great. And I would love for this activity to take about 10 minutes. Group time, question and answer. And now that we're done with group, also I have resources, several resources for people or counselors helping others and elders with grieving the loss of a pet. There's an online forum to join at rainbowbridge.com. There's a state-by-state pet loss resource website, which includes a printable pet loss PDF called 10 Tips on Coping with the Loss of a Pet, plus ideas for an elder who is able and enjoys or is open to the idea of Facebook, plus examples of Facebook pages where an elder or anyone grieving a pet can feel a sense of community. I've also included a local vet, Dr. Kane, who administers at-home euthanasia to pets, and a variety of other resources on her website. And she's agreed to have her contact info included here in our workshop. And I have also included my email. Anybody can feel free to email me at lduran52@nmsu.edu. And the Facebook websites, Facebook pages right here for elders who are comfortable with getting online and who are open to social media. In conclusion, we learned what pets mean to elders and some specifics about what pet loss may mean to an elder. We learned about healing and the creative process, making pet memorials and getting real creative with those, and working the pet into a pet trust or the elder's estate, using compassionate language. And we learned about family systems and cultures. Each is unique, but some things are universal. We have extensive resources for the grieving elder, plus I have included my own contact information. Again, please feel free to email me at laura52@nmsu.edu with any questions, comments, concerns, if feelings came up, or experiences you'd like to share. I hope you've enjoyed this workshop and have a few new tools in your toolkit about working with elders and pet loss. And I thank you for attending very much.